What's up guys, Ryan here from Mud Gunner. Today we have a pretty good topic to talk about. So we are going to be talking SBR versus pistol, and this kind of pistol, not the handgun. So yeah, we're going to be talking about specifically ARs today. So and what is the difference and what are the pros and cons of an AR pistol versus an AR short barrel rifle. And this might help some beginners because I know it gets a little confusing with all the legal nonsense and whatnot, but I've been working in the gun industry for quite a while now, and I feel like I can just at least give you some pointers. So what is a rifle? Well, a rifle is basically a shoulder-fired firearm with a 16-inch barrel. So you can turn a Glock into a rifle if you gave it a 16-inch barrel and a stock. But for the most part, when we're talking ARs, we're talking this. This is a very traditional looking AR. So you have a basic buttstock and you have a gun with a 16-inch barrel. Now, if you were to make this barrel 10 inches without changing anything else, you would have a short barrel rifle because the legal length for rifles is a 16-inch barrel. Now, there are legal length barrels that aren't quite 16 inches, and that would be pin and welded barrels. So you could have like a 14.5-inch barrel or a 13.9-inch barrel with a pin muzzle device to get you 16 inches overall. And that's legal because your overall length on it is 16 inches. Now this one is 16 inches plus the muzzle device, so it's actually going out a little bit further than that. But yeah, that is the basics of what a rifle is. And we're not gonna get into like dictionary definitions of all this stuff, but basically 16 inches and a stock is a rifle. And yeah, so, and we're not talking shotguns, because shotguns, that they classify that as something else. Like a shotgun has to have at least an 18-inch barrel because it's a smooth bore weapon. I don't know their exact reasoning between 18 inches for shotguns or 16 inches for rifles, but it's all in the law book somewhere. So yeah, rifle specifically, it has to be 16 inches. So once you shorten it without changing anything else, you have a short barrel rifle, which is what I have right here. Now there's a couple ways to go about getting a short barrel rifle. We're gonna be talking the legal ways. So you can either buy a factory short barrel rifle, which I've done in the past, and it's not a bad process. It's actually getting significantly easier as of right now on tax stamps, and we'll get into that too. But yeah, you can either buy a factory short barrel rifle, which this is not, this is one that I built. And that requires you going to a gun store, or you could even buy on private party. It's just, that's a whole process in itself, doing the paperwork that way. But you can go to a gun store, you can buy a factory short barrel rifle off the floor, and then for the longest time, you'd have to wait 6 months to 12 months, maybe longer. Some people have waited well over a year for tax stamps. And what you're doing is you're buying the item, price plus tax, and then you're paying the government $200 to own it. So it's called a tax stamp. It's also an NFA item, so National Firearms Act item. Yeah, short barrel rifles, machine gun suppressors, they're all part of that tax stamp process. So to own a short barrel rifle, you have to pay a $200 tax stamp to the government just to be allowed to own it. It's paying to play. And we're also going to be talking about the pros and cons of that. But what buying a short barrel rifle allows, or basically grants you, is now you can have a stock on a rifle that is less than 16 inches. And on top of that, a little caveat, dessert on top, you get to add a vertical grip, which you cannot add on a pistol. If you were to add a vertical grip onto a pistol, that would make it an AOW. Any other weapon, that requires a $5 tax stamp. Don't ask me why. Apparently it makes it shoot faster. So yeah, if I had no stock on this, but just the vertical grip, it'd be a $5 tax stamp. So again, that's kind of weird, but yeah, paying the $200 tax stamp allows you to have that. When you buy it or when you make it, your tax stamp, which is your registration for the gun, because now it is registered to you, even if your state doesn't have state registration, which Arizona does not, you are registering it with the federal government because it's a regulated item. So yeah, this gun is regulated to me. I can't go let my friend borrow it. I can't just easily sell it to someone, even if it's, legal to sell guns privately in your state. It's tied to you, and it's not that it's hard to get rid of, but it's not as easy to get rid of. But yeah, so you are registering it to you, and the main thing that is on the paperwork is obviously all your info, all the gun info, but they register also the barrel length and the caliber and the overall length. So as far as I know, by definition now, ATF is changing their mind all the time. You are allowed to switch uppers, so like switch barrels and whatnot, as long as it's not like a permanent change. So what I've told a lot of people to do is, you have an SBR lower, because it's the lower that's registered, and you can have a couple different uppers for it. So if I want to go, this is chambered in 5.56. If I wanted to go pop a 300 blackout upper on here, I can do that, and I could have two calibers for this lower because it's the lower that's registered. I could still have my stock and everything. But if you're doing a permanent change to it, you are supposed to notify the ATF. You don't have to repay the $200 tax stamp. But if, let's say I wanted to make this a 300 blackout, you can just notify, as far as I know, I've never really done this because I just leave it as is. As far as I know, you can notify them, or even if your barrel length changes from like a 10 to a 12 or whatnot, you can just notify the ATF that you are changing a configuration of it, because on their registration then it's going to say, oh, you have a 5.56 with this barrel length. Again, this might all sound confusing, but I'm trying to do this to help out some of the beginners. But yeah, so that's kind of the basics of this. You pay a $200 tax stamp. For the longest time, you waited 6 to 12 months, but right now, specifically Form 1s, so if you, doing a Form 1 is when you make your own SBR, doing a Form 4 is when you buy something. So I made this into an SBR. It started out life as a 16-inch barrel. I paid a $200 tax stamp to shorten the barrel, which I just bought a different one. And yeah, so you can pay a $200 tax stamp to buy one or to make one, and it is for that one item. So you have to do it every single time. And yeah, it's a little bit of a process, but this one only took me 13 days to get approved. So, and that was back in 2018, not even right now. So I turned this into an SBR back in 2018. I mailed off the paperwork to them, and then 13 days later, I get an email saying, you know, now I have an SBR. So yeah, there's that. And then there is the pistol route. Now the pistol route is definitely the more popular option for a variety of reasons, but it has its pros and cons as well. So with the pistol, and I know it looks very similar, right? This is considered a pistol on paperwork. It's a AR pistol. You have a brace, which does not classify as a stock as of right now. Now I will say ATF is currently trying to make them pass as stocks, but they have no way to enforce it. So there is an injunction on it. Last year was a little bit dicier, but even then, there was no kind of repercussions, at least not that I know of. What's funny is I'm not like law enforcement by any means, but I had plenty of local law enforcement asking me, hey, can I still have my brace on my AR? I'm like, you guys are the law enforcement. But that's how crazy this gets is, you know, federal and state level government, they don't necessarily talk to each other. They're not like, hey, we're going to do this. I want you all to do that, like implement it this way. They don't necessarily work well together. So yeah, I still know plenty of local law enforcement that's like, yeah, we're not going to enforce a brace ban on AR. So again, it gets a little dicey. This is not me giving you legal advice. This is just me kind of explaining what's kind of gone on in the last couple of years. So again, this is an AR pistol. This does not have a stock on there, even though it looks like it. So this is okay on a pistol. This is not okay on a pistol. You can tell they look very different. And then this is a stock on here. So these guns are the exact same, but this one is registered with the federal government. This one is not. So it's kind of weird. Now, maybe me posting this is registering it, but that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make for you guys. So yeah, we have an AR pistol here. Other thing, again, is you can't have a vertical grip on an AR pistol, but you can get away with angled grips, hand stops, a variety of other things. So I have a little Arisaka nub thing here. And this, yeah, this is on an, oh, if you're wondering what these are, this is on an LMT, this is the Daniel Defense. Both pretty nice AR builds. That's a 12.5-inch barrel. This is an 11.5-inch barrel. But yeah, aside from that, performance-wise, they're very similar. Like, you can use this pretty well compared to that and vice versa. You don't necessarily, I like vertical grips on my guns. I run them on a lot of guns, but I can get away with little hand stops. The other thing that's kind of, I guess gray area-ish is all the angled grips. So there are companies that'll say, oh, well, ours is like 85 degrees, not 90 degrees, which is vertical. So yeah, this is a little BCM one. That's gray area. That's for you to decide. I don't care what you do. But yeah, this is a pistol. This is a rifle. That requires $200. This doesn't require any extra money. And same day, you can, yeah, before you wouldn't leave with that. If you bought that from a gun store, you would not leave with that for 6 to 12 months. Again, right now, the wait times are very fast, like a week-ish, a week to 2 weeks. If you're unlucky, sometimes they're still a little bit longer. Trusts are still going a little bit longer. But I got 3 tax stamps back this past month, all in 5 days. So those were for suppressors. But I did mail off a tax stamp for a short barrel rifle, and it's one that is going to be coming to the channel soon. And yeah, I'm excited to show you guys, but we don't have it yet. So yeah, that's kind of the main differences is you can't have a vertical grip, you can't have a stock, but you got to leave with it same day. And again, it all shoots very similar to a rifle. But yeah, this is a very cool looking handgun. And again, it's all weird. It's just legal legal definitions and loopholes and whatnot, but us as civilians, you know, it's kind of on us on how we want to handle it. I don't mind doing $200 tax stamps. And again, if you just do one lower, I could put this up around there and rock it and we're good to go. So I know this argument will probably get some people worked up. Well, you know, you should do this or you should do that. I don't care what you do. I'm just telling you, this is kind of how it is. Also, if you're wondering what this is a CZ Bren 2. This is classified as a pistol. Now, as of right now, I have the option of putting an AR buffer tube on there and putting a pistol brace, kind of like how I have this. But what I would like to do is register this as a short barrel rifle and buy a factory stock for it, because an AR buffer tube on this will look pretty freaking stupid. So, but yeah, that's a CZ Bren 2 and 5.56. Right now it's a pistol, but at some point it will be a short barrel rifle, just not yet. But yeah, that's a recent acquisition. And again, so when we're talking rifle versus pistol, this is the difference. That is the only difference. Looks very similar, right? So this is an SB Tactical brace. SB Tactical is the brand, and then this is a Magpul stock. So even though they look very similar, they are a $200 difference, a tax stamp difference, and time in jail or not jail difference. So yeah, it's really dumb. I honestly think short barrel rifles, suppressors, all that should be legal over the counter because it's a common use item. These don't make it any more deadly or, you know, unsafe for the streets. It's the people that do. So yeah. On a side note, we're talking SBRs. I'll show you guys this one. This is one of my favorite SBRs and probably has the most time on the channel. So this was actually my very first SBR. Also, I did this back in 2018. I mailed it off because at that time e-file wasn't open. I mailed this one in May, got it in November. I e-filed this one in November and also got it in November of 2018. But that one, I did it online, but you still have to mail it to them. Now you don't have to mail it to them anymore, which is nice because Silencer Shop does their thing. But yeah, this was my very first SBR. And for guns like this, honestly, like, I understand why some people may not want to SBR an AR. Like, braces are super easy, but at the time, there was no getting a SCAR pistol. Now, they have the 7-inch out now, which is kind of dumb in its current caliber, but yeah, at the time, there was no way to get a 10-inch SCAR unless you SBR'd it. So I thought it was worth it to me. Again, this is all going to be kind of up to you, and if you don't want to pay any tax stamps, that's cool. You don't have to have suppressors or short barrel rifles, or if you do, you know, you can say how you're not going to pay the government and not be on a list, even though you're posting that publicly for everyone to see. So yeah, it's all fun and games. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully this helped you out a little bit. I know it's really dumb. You know, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you guys. But thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for my next video.